Chamatkar Sandhu here for Kamikaze TV at Seni, the combat and strength show, standing alongside UFC strawweight Joanne Calderwood. Joanne, how are you?
I'm great, how are you?
I'm fantastic. We just saw the very first episode of the TUF 20 earlier on this week on BT Sport. What was your reaction to watching the first episode?
Well, I didn't watch it on Wednesday because I was flying home, but I had watched it in New York a few days before, so I'd seen it, and I think UFC's done a great job, and I can't wait till next week though, because obviously I'm second fight up, so I'll be fighting next week.
We'll get to Emily Kagan in a second, but going into the show, did you know that they were going to seed all the fighters?
No, but that's the thing with UFC, they always have something that a surprise, you know, they're always a step ahead, so it was a nice surprise, and it was kind of nice twist because it caught everyone off their guard.
Yeah. And how did it feel to be seeded number 2 out of all those fighters?
I was like, really? That's pretty cool, but you know, rankings and stuff don't really matter. You've seen in the first episode, number 3 get beat, you know, so in this MMA sport, I don't think the rankings mean shit.
Well, let's talk about that first episode, because a lot of fans and media consider that to be a major an upset, because everyone thought Tisha Torres was one of the favourites to win the competition. So what did you make of Randa Marcus's performance in that fight?
Well, obviously Randa was on my team, so I'd seen her training a few days. I had got the awesome experience of training with her, so, and I was like, I kind of buddied up with her, and I was like, I know she can do it, and obviously we were talking and stuff, and I was like, I really want to be the next person, so let's win and stuff, and I just had this feeling she was going to win, you know, and she did, and yeah, she's a dark horse for sure.
And speaking about the teams, were you happy to be on Team Pettis, or did you have no preference either way?
I didn't have any preference. Obviously, they're both great guys, but with the way the teams worked out, I was really happy with my teammates. You know, the girls that get picked and the girls I was alongside. I thought they were the stronger team to be on. So yeah, I was happy.
Okay, well, let's talk about the next episode. You're going to be fighting Emily Kagan. What can you tell us without giving us any spoilers about what happens in this episode?
I don't know. I've not seen it yet.
In terms of the fight, though?
The fight, it's a good fight, and I can't really say anything, like, obviously I give too much away, but it's a good fight. I was happy with my performance, you know.
Did you know Emily Kagan before entering the house?
I actually fought one of our teammates, so she fights pretty much the same as the girl that I had already fought, so I kind of thought that, but obviously you don't want to take anyone for granted, and you go in there expecting she could have changed her game and stuff, but she pretty much fought the same way.
Can you tell us if on the show you at least made some carrot cake at any time on the show?
No. Tune in and see, but everyone that knows me knows that I can't cook, but you know, maybe I try.
What's it been like to promote the season, meeting up with the girls again? You were in New York, as you mentioned, and in LA. What was that experience like for you?
It was really good, like, to go out there and obviously see the girls again. Some of the girls I kind of get along with. The other girls, it was a bit, yeah, like, oh God, I'm out of the house now, why am I still with these girls? But we need to promote the show, and we've done our best to do that, and the feedback's been great, so that's our job, so can't complain.
Well, we're looking forward to the next episode, finally seeing you know, Scotland's own Joanne Calderwood fight on The Ultimate Fighter. One of the questions I wanted to ask you is, I noticed recently on Twitter you changed your Twitter handle from Bad Mofo Jojo to Dr. Neville. When did you do that, and why did you do that?
I done it a few weeks ago, and it's just because obviously Fox will be showing our Twitter handlers on telly, and you know, Mofo's short for not a nice name, so they asked me nicely if I would mind changing it, and I said it was not a problem. Like, obviously I don't want to be disrespectful to anyone, and I want to be a good employee, so I changed it. I gave it a couple of days and then I changed it, but it's still my Instagram.
And did you have a few ideas before you settled on Dr. Neville?
Yeah, I put up on my Facebook and asked people like what did they think, and but I had been called that from Bass Rutten in when he was commentating one of my fights, so I thought it was kind of cool, and someone mentioned it a few times, so I was like, right, I'll go with that one.
Brilliant. Just to wrap up then, being back home in Britain, are you here to stay now, or will you be going back to the States before we find out what happens on the Ultimate Fighter?
I'm going to be here, and I'm going to be in London until Wednesday, and I go back to Scotland, and then I'll be going to Sweden for the Sweden UFC card, and then I'll be back in Scotland in a fight camp.
Yeah. Well, considering your coach on the Ultimate Fighter was Anthony Pettis, that fight will be coming up. It's one of the big fights everyone's looking forward to towards the end of the year. Break down Anthony Pettis versus Gilbert Melendez and give us your prediction for that fight.
Well, obviously everyone knows Anthony for his striking, but he's really good at mixing. He's well-rounded. He's good at mixing his strikes in with. He's good at MMA striking, you know, and MMA wrestling and MMA jiu-jitsu. And it was really good to train with him because that's what I look to do. And Gilbert, I've not really seen very much of Gilbert, but I know he's a wrestler. Everyone knows that. But I think Anthony will keep the belt. I'm not just saying that because I was on his team and he paid me to say that, but I think Anthony will keep the belt and maybe decision, I think. But I'm shit at predictions, by the way. I never get them right.
Well, we'll find out if you get this one right.
Yeah.
Well, listen, thank you very much for your time. We look forward to seeing the rest of the show as it unfolds, and the best of luck after the show airs. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Cheers.